Slurped up, my G's. How are you guys doing? Today I'm going to break down a Serum patch called Toxic Bubbles, which sounds like this. I'm going to talk about all of my favorite effects that I've used. I'm going to talk about also the granular synthesis, which is the key to this sound. And we'll talk about filtering a little bit as well, and just give you some sort of general tips for Serum. So basically what I've got to start off with is 3 oscillators here. We've got a sine wave, which is at -1. And then we've got another one, which is another sine wave at -2. This one has a bit of distortion on down here with sine fold mode. Then we've got a granular sound, and this is in the built-in Serum already, so you can use it too. It's under the factory, and then synth, and then DX brass 2 C2. Okay. And it's already got a nice movement on, and that's for a number of reasons, because I'm actually I'm already FMing it into oscillator A here. This one just controls the tonality. That's FM from the granular to A. And this is where you've got the main movement coming in with the PD from C. And this is where the grains are going into this sine wave, and it's affecting the sine wave. So just to that right level, you get a nice tonality. With this kind of stuff, with the granular synthesis in Serum, it's very fidgety. You have to get it on the exact right spots to like unlock a cool tone. So you have to be really sort of fine-tune stuff a lot, otherwise it's not going to work. So the actual sort of rhythm, there's sort of 2 rhythms going on in this patch, but the main one is from the length of the grains here. So yeah, using the length there, you can control the speed of the effect once that granular sound's going through into that sine wave, you know. And the other important thing to know is that I've put it on manual mode here. You know, you can see here manual mode. That it changed it. But yeah, so you can tweak the position or the density. But on this sound, it's quite a consistent sound here, so it doesn't change things too much. It's really the length that's sort of giving you that obvious change in the speed. But yeah, I always use the manual mode for the granular generator usually, because it allows you to pinpoint a part yourself in the sample that you want and create grains from that, and then feed them into an oscillator like I have done here. The other thing with the granular generator is great is on the warp mode, you can have also some effects enabled here, right? So I've FM'd from A and I've PD'd from B. And you can just fine tune those to like improve the tonality. What's great about Serum 2 is you can FM 2 things together, like both ways round, you know. So the A goes into C, and also the C goes into A at the same time. If you have the levels up too high, it will sort of counteract itself so much to a point where it'll have like gaps in the audio, and it will just like not really work. But if you use like some of them in a subtle amount, you can generate a new tone from the way that everything is rooted together. So it's quite fascinating and difficult to understand. We've got another kind of movement going on. So this is LFO here, LFO1. And it's a bit subtle now, but you'll hear it a bit more when they put the noise on. So it's basically modulating the level of the noise. It's going to modulate this filter as well in a moment, a bunch of other things. The smoothing is turned up a little bit. But basically, what this does is, it allows us to have a sort of counter rhythm kind of vibe in the sound. So let's turn on the first filter. And this is filtering everything except for the white noise. The white noise goes straight into filter 2, and you'll see there's a comb filter on that. But all of the other sounds including the granular part, they all go into filter 1. And here I've got this big fat juicy low pass kind of filter on it, right? It's just in a nice position, so it's nice and powerful, and it drives up the sound quite a lot in volume as well. I've driven it up a lot here. There's also a bit of movement on the mix, so the filter is kind of off, then goes on, and kind of works like that, you know. On filter 2, this is where things get interesting. So everything from filter 1 goes into filter 2, plus now the noise gets added into filter 2, okay? And it's the comb minus on the flanges here, just the normal comb minus, and the cutoff sort of around 600, and there's a bit of movement on that. Resonance up nicely, drive is up as well, and yeah, it's wonderful, really. Just wonderful. But yeah, that then goes obviously into the effects section next, right? So what we've got over here then, let's do it one at a time. We've got a flanger on, really high. I say really high, I've gone higher. It's 34%. Flange is everything. I like to put a flanger on first to add this sort of variation in there. Then I use the bode, and I love this one. This gives me that whole extra new fat warm stereo low end to the sound, you know. And basically it's when you have the blur up and the mix down, you can find a nice point where you get the signal added in, but it doesn't overwhelm either. And what I like to do is I like to move the shift in the range around and the direction. And so if I turn it up a bit, yeah, you can really get a lot of different effects, different results for that new harmonic that you're adding in. Yeah, I quite liked it down there for this one. And then the hyper dimension, just a little bit on the dimension, about 20%. And a little bit on the mix of the, the hyper is at 20% and the dimension at 9%. So again, the dimension just adding extra convolution sort of space, and the hyper putting a bit of a pitch kind of movement onto the whole thing, not necessarily reverbing it. The chorus then, it sounds great in Serum here. Does quite a job at sort of gelling everything together. Yeah, filters up pretty high. So it's sort of filtering the whole range of the sound. Then we've got the lo-fi splitter, the low-high splitter. I tend to just only really use this for distortion because the distortion module in Serum doesn't never really work that well with the low end of the sound, and it's important to use distortion. It's kind of necessary, right? So I basically always have to end up using it just to distort the sort of high end separately, you know, because otherwise, yeah, too low and it just sort of ruins the sound. It doesn't always, but often it does. And the rectifier is the mode that I've chosen. We've got a mix about 65% here, but yeah, it's obviously grits up the sound loads, gets really nice and gritty, you know. Then we've got a bit of filter movement again on everything. It's nice to have another filter after, just to like keep shaping the sound a bit. It's a sort of subtle notch filter. It's the Peak 24. Just in a nice spot here, starting around 90 Hertz and then going up sort of, yeah, somewhere in the mid-range here. I think Serum actually tells you, yeah, it goes up to 900. So again, yeah, getting a bit darker, more aggressive with the drive on that. And then with just a touch of reverb whole, sort of long reverb. And then after that, I have my special convolution reverb. And this is the tape. And a little while ago, if you remember on YouTube, I made a video where I recorded a bunch of Foley convolution reverb layers for you guys to use. And I said you could all download them for free off my Patreon. Did you get them? Leave a comment down below. But they are really good. They're my custom made impulse responses for Serum. And there's just like 10 or something. And yeah, lots of sort of Foley reverb things. And because they sound a bit more, like they got more going on than the factory convolutions. So I made my own convolutions here, and the tape one is great. And basically what you got to do when you save it, like you got to sort of save, you can embed the sample into the preset. You know, that's what I do when I sort of make presets for you guys. So next then, a tiny bit of a high shelf boost with the EQ here, and then we've got a little bit of distortion on everything. And when I said before the distortion kind of ruins the low end, if you use it very subtly in the mix, so only up to sort of here like 16%. Then yeah, you can push everything, including the lows, a little bit more, you know. So that's kind of it then pushed to the max, you know. So that's the Toxic Bubbles preset. Yeah, there's a few movements I put on this LFO1 which I haven't really specified, but I think the cutoff kind of here on the filter, the sort of distortion high-low setting, the sort of, you know, the splitting, the frequency split section, I've modulated that a little bit. There's not too much else. I think the other main thing was the filter here, both the filter cutoff positions as well. So they've got, you know, they've got this movement to them, and the grains have their movement to them. So there's two movements together in the patch, right? And so what I did, and I've set it up here how I like it, but I basically move the length and move the rate like independently, and find a sort of balance in the middle where they don't necessarily completely line up, but they give you like this interlocking kind of groove, you know, because you have like they kind of don't exactly line up together. They sort of doing their own thing, you know, but they sort of work though as well, right? So that's the cool thing. Where you get these sort of magic moments sometimes in sound design, when you can sort of have like two sort of separate grooves going on in the patch, and then like by ear sort of try to line things up, and that's often how I get the most interesting tonalities doing that, you know, and movements, because it can become quite complex, and it's difficult to it's easy to have the timing completely awful. You have to really fiddle with it for a while. But yeah, when it comes to the granular stuff and timing things like naturally like that, it's a very fiddly job, but it's kind of worth it, because I think that's how you get the best textures, you know. But yeah, that's the Toxic Bubbles. Hope you guys like that. Please excuse my sort of lack of wearing a t-shirt. I did actually start the video with a t-shirt on, and I was so hot, and then my camera ran out of space, so I had to start all over again. And I thought, I can't wear a t-shirt the second time around. It's too hot. We've got very hot weather at the moment. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe if you can. I really appreciate it. Check out the other links down below. Check out the other links down below as well to my preset packs for Serum, Vital, Faceplant, Current, and maybe more, maybe not. Check out also my presets. I just said that. I'm not doing very well at this today. My production lessons, one-on-one, down below. Mixing and mastering services available as well. And also, come along and join us on Patreon. We've got a great Discord. We're going to do our next feedback live stream as well in a few weeks' time. All right, thank you. That's it for me today. More from me very soon. Much love.